Evening. I'm going to call the Dudley Conservation Commission to order. It's October 23rd, 2024. It's 6:01. I'm a minute late. Please be advised that this...
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
before we begin, I have a gentleman who's showing on video with the identification that just says phone. If you could identify yourself for the record, please. Yes, sir, you in the car, tuning in on Zoom? Your identification simply says phone. Can you tell us who you are, please?
I'm sorry, my name is Gian Ranucci, and I own 52 Center Road in Dudley, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I was gonna get to you next, Jim. There was somebody in that he sent.
Sorry about that.
So, we'll try him again. All right, again, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, could I have a roll call for the attendance?
Samantha Costello.
George Slungo.
Rand Mikulajic. Wesley Morosco. William LePage.
Okay, first on up is 7 Deary Lane, and I believe it's a Zoom call from the engineer.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Jason Dubois from DC Engineering and Survey. The property is 7 Deary Lane, owned by Lot 3 Deary Lane LLC. They're looking to construct a additional garage on the property. There's currently a garage there now. So we have proposed to add a second garage to the side of this one. Most of the site is already compacted gravel. This new building, as you can see, it's 30 by 104, will be placed on that compacted gravel area. We do have some proposed recharge for this new building. That was a requirement from DEP to try to meet the stormwater standards. We are in the buffer zone to Merino Pond, as you can see up in the top left. And the 100-foot buffer zone goes through about a third of the building, as you can see. We do have erosion control on the down gradient portion of the property to catch any runoff that that may happen during construction. But as I said, this is all currently already gravel. This whole lot is already gravel, so they'll just excavate out for a slab, put the building on, and then re-gravel up around the building. We did get a DEP number this week. That's basically it. If there's any questions, I can try to answer those for you.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Matt, what did you have to think about all this?
There were some drainage and stormwater issues that DEP wanted resolved. There was stormwater calculations submitted. I reviewed them with the engineer on the phone. I've already been to the site. I don't have a problem with issuing an order of conditions standing for this particular project. That's really it. I mean, we had to wait for the DEP comments. They commented, they've been addressed, supplemental information was submitted. I'm good with it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any abutters?
There are.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Patricia Gates. I'm an attorney representing two abutters, Linda Hackinson, sister to Mr. Hilkla, and her cousin and his cousin, Susan Niles. Before we start, is there a way to get what is being shown on your screen over your heads as it was at the last meeting?
I don't know. I don't know who does the TV.
She's trying right now.
I'd just like to be able to see what you were just looking at, obviously.
Here we go.
Great, thank you.
Can we get it back on this TV?
Oh,
Watch the movie. I mean, I like that show, but
or maybe you just tilt that.
it's up here on the screen.
No, I can see that, but the
Oh,
people sitting at the front can't, so.
you can see it now. It's back.
We're good.
Are you good? Okay. As I said, I represent Mr. Hilkla's sister and cousin. And I would like to say this is the proverbial cart before the horse. This is a business that is being conducted in a residential 10 zone. It is not a permitted use. NP, not permitted under your zoning code. The building,
Can I stop you right now? As far as, I mean, the zoning, this is not zoning, this is conservation.
I understand zoning and conservation,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, and I understand the difference. Nonetheless, this has to be an issue for you because this building isn't permitted to go on the site. And there's a reason for that. You've got Merino Pond, how far away? 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet? The building that's there now should not have been there. It was replaced after a fire. We're now looking to put on a very large addition, and it is going to allow more and more construction vehicles to go to that property. It is right adjacent to the lake. Therefore, the zoning and the environmental issues merge together. There's a reason this business isn't supposed to be there, and this will not protect the lake. So we have strong objections, and we would say that if the board is inclined to grant this, it should be conditioned upon Mr. Hickla getting a building permit. That's a reasonable condition that you can put into your order of condition. It is a reasonable condition. This is an inappropriate place for this building to go. Mr. Hilkla continues to park all over the streets around and they are streets that surround this property. The streets are private ways, but nonetheless they are roadways, and people are entitled to use those. It's Davis Street and what remains of Gray Avenue. Gray Avenue is hard to find from somebody going to a site visit, but it in fact exists, and Mrs. Hackinson and Ms. Niles are entitled to the use of those streets. They've not been entitled lately because Mr. Hickla has put up a fence preventing them to get to it, and that's another issue that's a dispute between the parties. Has nothing to,
Again,
I'd like it if you didn't keep waving me off with what's going on here. We're entitled to make a presentation. At the end, you may say to me, you're crazy and get out of here. But in the meantime, please offer me the courtesy of allowing me to say what needs to be said. There is clearly a personal animus between the parties, and they're prevented from getting to the back of their property. However, what's on the back of the property and what's on the existing streets should be a concern to you. These are construction vehicles. And the opportunity for there to be some kind of leakage or some kind of spill coming from these vehicles is pretty extraordinary. And yet they're parked all over the back around the existing buildings. That's not permitted, it's not allowed, it's done anyway. Mr. Hilka has a pretty wide berth, right? So these should not be there, they should not be in another building at the site, and the building should not be constructed.
Okay.
So I'd like to make those points and ask you to deny this because it's an inappropriate use in this, it's an inappropriate place for this building to go. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Matt, do you have
Mr.
any
Chairman, can I
questions?
address our concern?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, first of all, I've heard no environmental grounds in the Wetland Protection Act on why this thing needs to be denied, so I disagree with you. However, I would like to share something with you. Seeing as we've got the big TV up and the meeting's being recorded, let me know when you guys can see this form.
Yep.
Okay, so to address your concerns about the other permits, I draw your attention to Wetland Protection Act Form WPA 5, Order of Conditions, which is our standard boiler issued under the Wetland Protection Act. So, under the following state standard conditions that we issue orders, condition number 2, the order does not grant any property rights or exclusive privileges and does not authorize any injury to private property or invasion of private rights. Condition 3, this order does not relieve the permittee or any other person of the necessity of complying with all other applicable federal, state, or local statutes, ordinances, bylaws, or regulations. So I don't think I have to explain the meaning to you on this, on what that really means, but in just really simple terms, your request for the building permit condition is actually built into condition number 3. So if no other permits can be obtained for whatever reason, the approvals under this order of conditions cannot proceed. It would render the order moot at that point.
Mr. Morrow, is that, I'm speaking, I think you were speaking?
Yes.
I'm, again, familiar with the language of an order of condition, and I understand what you're saying. But I am saying that this is a very important matter, that blanket language may not rise to an occasion of a local building inspector who will have that buried. I'm saying that if that's the case, then there should be no reason that this language not be included, so that your local building inspector can be made aware of the issue before this is brought to him with an instruction to give me a building permit. Well, I can't give you a building permit. Well, sure you can. This is the order of conditions says I'm entitled to do this. That's all I'm asking, that it be added as a condition to the issuance of the building permit.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if it addresses the council's concern, I don't think it would do any harm to add that. But, so council is aware, the way the building permit process goes, anything done within 100 feet of a wetland, the building inspector knows about, number 1. Number 2, the building department requires these permits be done through OpenGov online, which then sends me an alert to which I notify the building commissioner that this order of conditions would require any approvals from conservation. So the building commissioner is aware that there is an order that is issued. I mean, we'll put it in the order, but we usually make sure that the building department is aware of these permits. So we will make sure, put a little extra effort in making sure that they're aware of the existence of the permit.
That will be helpful.
I don't have an issue with that.
Okay. I think it's a reasonable thing to request.
Any more questions?
I was wondering if you had any more questions.
No? Are there any more abutters that wish to speak?
I would just like to make one more comment, and some of you may remember my last visit here when this meeting was continued with no notice to anybody. I don't even think the board was aware of it. I have heard that that has occasioned you to change some of your regulations, which is really good and very helpful in terms of getting the information out to abutters and to having a requirement that there be 2 days' notice in the event there's a request for a continuance.
Yes.
I appreciate that you've made that effort, because that was a burden to my clients having to pay me to come here, and for them having to come here. One lives locally, the other lives in Rhode Island. So I appreciate the fact that you recognize the burden that created that day, because it was wholly inappropriate, and I thank you for that.
Okay, any more abutters? Any more questions from the board? Matt, your recommendation is that we approve it?
The standard order conditions with the extra condition that the building department be required to issue a permit prior to this project being allowed to go forth. And I will ensure that Mr. Burlingame is notified.
Okay. I will close the public hearing at 6:16. Someone want to make a motion?
Was that for 7 Dairy Lane?
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we issue a notice of intent with the
You need an
stipulation,
order of conditions.
Order conditions.
order of conditions, I'm sorry.
Second.
With the caveat that no permit shall be issued until,
Until the building department
be notified, right?
notifies and okays it.
Is that how you worded it, Mark, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Next one on the list is public hearing, notice of intent for 13 Stebbins Drive.
Hi, good evening. This is Allison Millman with BSC Group here on behalf of the applicant, New England Power Company.
Excuse me, Allison?
Yes, sir.
My name's Matt, don't call me son. We still don't strive on the formality. Call me Matt.
Matt.
I just wanted to know, did you want to share screen or did you want me to share screen?
I'm happy to share the screen.
If it's easier for you, I'll be more than happy to give you the ability to do that. So just hold on 1 second. I've never been rapid fire. Change the settings. There you go. You should be able to do it now.
Okay, thank you.
You're all set.
All right, please let me know when everyone's able to see my screen.
Yep.
Okay, this is just our USGS overview map. So I want to thank everyone for hearing this application tonight. It's for New England Power Company for access, an historical access point that they do have deeded rights to off of 33 Stebbins Drive in Dudley. This is the location of the tree removals. They're requesting removal of 4 trees, 1 maple and 3 birch, in order to be able to use their historic access point to gain access to the existing F19 transmission line. The F19 transmission line is this kind of dotted line feature here shown on the USGS. This is their historic access route off the cul-de-sac of Stebbins Drive that meanders through in order for them to get to this structure 198. As you can see, 198, the structure is pretty well confined by the existing water body located to the west, as well as this stream located to the east, and the water body to the north. So this really is their only access point. It's also the least impactful to resources, rather than matting through this large wetland and this water course here. There's also some steep incline decline that heads down into this water body here. So they're requesting the removal of these 4 trees in order to gain access to 198. They are planning to do some future maintenance on this line, and that's why they're requesting these tree removals at this time. The scope of work is hand clearing, so they won't be bringing equipment in. They're proposing to use chainsaws and chippers on site that will, they'll be basically chip the material on site and leave as is. And the point is for them to gain access to the right-of-way to continue their maintenance activities. So we're here before you with a notice of intent for tree removals within riverfront area, and as well as 2 trees that are located within the 100-foot buffer to bank. I don't know if there are any further questions. I can share some pictures of the area if there's interest in that. That kind of shows the historic cart path that's been used and the trees to be removed. Bring those over here. My computer will work. It's frozen. Sorry, my blue beam's frozen. I'll take questions, I guess, at this point. I don't want to waste time, and then when my blue beam stops freezing, I'll be happy to share photos if there's interest.
Now, you have a right-of-way from Stebbins Drive?
If there's a deeded access agreement that allows for the New England Power Company to pass over the land of the grantor associated with this parcel, yes. And it's my understanding that their community outreach representative has already contacted this landowner and spoken with him about this proposed plan. And to my knowledge, he was not objectionable to this proposed removal of 4 trees.
Okay, well, he's not here, so I would imagine he doesn't have a problem with it. All right, any questions from the board?
No, they're gonna use gas chainsaws, but you can't do it manually.
Seeing that there's nobody left here, there's no abutters. Matt, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Allison, did you review DEP's comment?
I often don't get the comments from DEP. They did not send me a letter, sir. Sorry, Matt.
Okay. So the technical comment reads. Actually, you know what? I'll share.
Do you want me to stop sharing? Yeah, that's great.
Let me share one. Here is the DEP portal. And it says, in general, the description provided WPA Form 3 says activities will occur within BLSF riverfront area and buffer zones. But the narrative states there will not be any impacts to BLSF or riverfront area. The applicant should clarify if impacts to wetland resource areas are anticipated and submit a revised WPA Form 3 with impacts quantified if necessary.
Okay, I understand that comment. The scope of work before you here is just the removal of those 4 trees. There's no additional work proposed. There's no grading, grubbing, road improvements that are being requested at this time. It's just the removal of those 4 trees. So the BLSF comment, they're technically, for these trees, are not located in BLSF, so there's no impact.
Okay, yeah, I just saw me squinting my computer screen earlier. I was looking through your narrative. Again, just to refresh my memory, it looked pretty clear to me what you were doing and the fact that no impacts could be inferred from your scope of work. So I'm assuming they just wanted us to be thorough on the analysis. I don't have any other issues with that. I'm good. So to me, your standard order conditions will be fine on the
Okay.
scope as is.
All right, well, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:25. Someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we order a standard order of conditions for 13 Stebbins Drive as presented by New England Power Company.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Okay,
All right, thank you all. I appreciate your time. Have a great evening.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is an extension request for order of conditions.
I'm going to recuse myself from this because these are my neighbors.
Matt, what's going on with this?
Okay, so essentially I had investigated a report of an extra driveway being put in, and I found out that the driveway itself was out of the buffer zone. However, in reviewing the file, I noticed I hadn't received any updates on plantings. I spoke to Mr. Kravosky and then emailed him, asked him for the progress, The area has been graded, it's ready to go, there has been some seeding done. There were areas that needed to be redone prior to planting. Glenn has the plantings actually ready to go. So as soon as we give the go-ahead on this extension, he will get the plantings in. I had a phone conversation with him again today about the scheduling. The 2-year extension is for the required 2-year monitoring when the final plantings are done. So he's gonna need 2 years worth of monitoring reports now. So essentially starting next year and the year after in October, in June and October, we will be getting progress monitoring reports on this. That's why we need the 2-year extension.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No.
So I want to make a motion.
I make a motion, we grant the extension request for the order of conditions for 52 Center Road.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Matt, do you have any comments
No, I'm all set.
about anything?
Perfect, thank you.
It's gonna be an interesting World Series this year.
Should be.
As always.
It's gonna be an interesting World Series this year.
All right.
Thank you all. Have yourself a fabulous night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the approval of the meeting minutes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from October 2nd as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We don't have any other business.
Who seconded that?
Okay, the next meeting date is November 13th. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn today's meeting.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.